Hey y'all, we are live. I'm trying to check on. Hey, okay, here we go. So I wanted to go live here because um I want to be able to share my screen, and in order for me to, hey Kiosha, good morning. I want to share my screen and I kind of want to see if you guys can see me, and hopefully if you guys can see me at the same time of me sharing my screen, then it'll be what's up. Okay. Grand Rising, Shawnee. Okay, here we are. Hey, and I think you can still see me. And I think I want to view, if we view on slideshow. Hey, you can still see me. Okay. All right. So this live is how to effectively practice forgiveness to accelerate your spiritual awakening. So I'm so excited for this because we did a talk last week on what is life and how did we get here. So I wanted to start off with that so that we build on it every time and build off of that, which we spoke a lot about in the live last week, that the world is an illusion, life is a dream, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, I talked about this because a lot of the, good morning, Tamika and Letitia, I spoke about this because, or I mentioned this because a lot of us say this. So I'm sorry, y'all. They're like doing some construction work on my back porch, so I'm gonna have to tune that out. So I put this in here because we say this a lot. I hear a lot of my clients, the people that come to my yoga classes, the people that I work with, the people that I just naturally come into contact with. And we all talk about how the world is an illusion and life is a dream, and that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But what does it actually look like to live this experience? What does it look like to live like the world is an illusion? What does it look like to live like life is a dream? What does it look like to know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience? What is that life experience like? So, yes, and I would say that practicing forgiveness is a little bit different than what you may be used to. So just come and be open. Good morning, Marie, Alex, and Mercedes. Just come open to seeing a little bit of a different way. So yeah. So the benefits. So the benefits of practicing forgiveness, and we're going to take it a little bit of a step further, keeping in mind the life is a dream, the world is an illusion, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. More so of the world is an illusion, life is a dream. Let's keep that in mind when we're thinking about the forgiveness that I'm about to, it's going to be a little bit of a shift in what you're used to. So the benefits is that it heals the deep sense of loneliness. So last week we were talking about how did we get here, and life is a dream, and what is life. So when we broke down everything, most of the way that we live life, we think that we are separate from God, and we are not separate from God. We are living an illusion or an experience of what it would be like to be separate from God, but we are not actually separate. We are still in heaven as the spirit that God created us to be. We are still there. Now, how can we at least imagine? Just work with me here. How would that be possible? Just think about when you go to sleep at night and you are dreaming a nightly dream. You think that you are in your dream. You are engaging with the figures of your nightly dream, even though you are still in your bed at home. So this is also the trick of the ego. It plays these things. It like mocks its existence in our face without us actually realizing it. So it is, the sleeping dream is symbolic of the dream of life, of this life is a dream, and we are actually still in heaven. But we have thought that we have been in this, we have identified with this reality of duality, or reality of duality, for so long that it seems so real, even though it's not. And I can guarantee that it is not real, because due to my near life experience, and I was able to witness the creation that we all are. I am not special. I am not above any of us. When I came back, the first thing I thought was, what is this place? Like, where am I at? What is this place that we're at? And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe in this realm that we think that we're in. And so that's when I started like actually searching, what is this experience that we in? What is life? Because it didn't seem like what I experienced. And that was beautiful beyond words. So it heals the deep sense of loneliness because it provides an awareness of love and wholeness within yourself. So why? Because you are reminding yourself, when you are practicing forgiveness in the way that I'm about to teach, you are reminding yourself of the thoughts of God throughout the day. Because throughout the day, when you are actually, reminding yourself of the thoughts of the ego throughout the day. So let's take a step back real quick to, no, we're not going to do that. The devolution. So once we just watch the other video. Once we got down into believing in the ego and the world was projected outside of us, the thoughts in our mind are projected outside of us. This is the world that we see. We then started to continue to think things through the ego all the time, because our reality of heaven and the voice of the Holy Spirit, which is, Holy Spirit means whole spirit, is walled off in our mind. It is a memory. It doesn't mean it is lost. That doesn't mean it's not accessible. It's just that when you keep choosing to think through the ego, you are identifying and continue to affirm the fact that this illusion is a reality. It is a fact. So, and that's what the ego wants you to do. It wants to keep deceiving you into believing that what is really not there, what really does not exist, does exist and is real and is there. So, which continues to make you feel like God isn't there. You are not connected to love. You are not whole, which then gives you this extremely sense of loneliness. And we all experience this throughout our life. Whether a lot of humans want to believe it, or a lot of people that identify as a human want to believe it or not, there's a lot of deep sense of loneliness. So you are basically affirming to yourself that you are one with God. You are actually in heaven. You are connected with God. So that is one of the benefits. Then it makes you invulnerable to attack and prevents defensiveness. So it makes you invulnerable to attack, because once you know where you are, which is in heaven, once you know who you are, which is the creation of God, the Son of God, then you have no need. And once you know that the things outside of you cannot harm you, because in this illusion, it is a dream. It cannot actually harm you. Just like when you're in your nightly dreams and someone tries to harm you, it does not actually harm the being that is in your bed at night. It cannot harm you. So once you know this, death is a whole nother thing though. That cannot harm you either, but that's a bigger, grander scheme of things. So once you know that the world outside of you is a dream, you are the dreamer of the dream, you are seemingly or experiencing this illusion, then, and you are connected to God and you are in heaven, then there is no need to attack other people back. There is no need to defend yourself. So it creates even more peace within yourself. And it's just affirming that there is no need to be afraid to attack others, to defend yourself, because you know who you are. And that also helps other people to see that they cannot attack you. There is no such thing as being able to attack, and there is no need to be defensive, because everybody wants to be able to ascend and live a godly life, be peaceful, be joyful, be happy, be loving. But a lot of people don't know how to do that, because they've also identified with the ego for so long as well. So by you showing and being an example that you want to see in the world, you are helping to remind people what their ability is too. And that's why it is no need to attack. So yes, people will also identify with their ego and try to attack you, but it is about your reaction to it that makes a difference in the world. So if they're seeing through the ego and they feel attacked, and then and even though you're not attacking them, because sometimes you're really not, but they perceive it as an attack, and then they attack you back, for you to come down and to attack them back and be defensive, you are now choosing with the ego. It is a choice that you make in your mind every time before the behavior actually happens. And I'm going to talk about it in another video of the two voices of the ego and the Holy Spirit, and how to distinguish between them, so that you can know what the ego looks like. Therefore, you can know how not to keep choosing it, because it's so prevalent. Actually, the ego is very predictive. It is, you can tell what it is. Once you know what it is, you can see it very clearly, and it'll be easier to not attack and not to defend. So, but still respect other people. And if you are seeing, if we're all the Son of God and we are all in heaven, when you know this about yourself, then you also know this about other people, because you're not special. You're not the only one that was created with God and in heaven. Everybody else who thinks that they're here too is also a son of God, a creation of God, and is in heaven as well. So even when they're in a way disrespecting themselves or thinking that they're separating themselves from God, that doesn't mean you have to do it too. Remind them who they are by acting as such. So, and then behaviors and actions will flow from forgiveness automatically, which is self-explanatory. And then the benefits is that it translates into insights, intuition, synchronicity, a feeling of being in the flow, or a deep inner peace. So yeah. All right, let's get to the good stuff. So okay, so the 3 steps of forgiveness. And feel free to ask any questions, y'all, as we're going through this, so that at the end I can answer any questions that you may have. Good morning, Tanya and Nikki and Laura. Okay. 3 steps of forgiveness. So take back your projections. I'm so excited. So the 3 steps of forgiveness is to take back your projections. So the first one is to take back your projections. What does that mean? Okay, so when the fact that we devolved, life is an illusion, life is a dream. We have devolved into this seemingly reality where we have identified with this human body and identified with the thought, the mindset, the thought process of the ego. So when you do that, the ego is telling you that you are separated from God. God is gonna come and get you. You have separated from God, you have killed God, God is gonna come get you once you come back. All these like fearful things. That's why people say that fear of God. There is no reason to fear God, no reason whatsoever. God is all loving, all peace, all ecstasy. At least that's what the experience, the emotions or the energy that I felt in my near life experience. Love, peace, ecstasy. That was it. And it was no ability to be able to harm or attack or defend. There was no thought of that at all whatsoever. So the ego is telling you this, though, because it is lying to you and making you believe that you have done something bad, basically. And the guilt is so deep within you. Hey, Nasi. She said I'm at work, but I'm listening. Okay, girl. So because you have started to believe these lies, there is this deep guilt and fear within you, within everybody else who thinks that they're here as well. So instead of wanting to tap into those emotions and look within, then you, instead of doing that, you project it out. You say it's other people. So let's say, for example, I can give the one thing I'm thinking about right now is when I can give two. One, when somebody had broke into my car about 2 weeks ago, and I could have said, why did they break into my car? Why did they violate me? It was their fault. When deep down, honestly, I was for a second, like, these thoughts come. It happens all the time, y'all. Even I have them. So deep down, I was feeling like, man, I should have put my club on my car. I shouldn't have listened to my friend and parked on this side of the street, because I didn't want to park on that side of the street. I wanted to park on the other side of the street. But when I called my friend, or on the other, it was 2 cross streets. I wanted to park on the other street. But when my friend was already there, she had been there for like 5 minutes. And when I called her, like, hey, where you at? She was like, I'm on this street. And I was like, why are you on this street? We can park on the other street. And so I was literally about to turn around, and she was like, why turn around? Just park behind me. And I was like, okay. And I parked behind her. So I could have wanted to blame her. I had the desire to want to blame her. I had the desire to blame myself for not putting the club on my car. And because I felt more so those two things that I can think of at the moment, instead of me just tuning in with myself and being like, I should have just listened to my first gut, and I should have just parked on the other side. I should have just put my club on my car. All these guilt feelings that you're feeling of yourself, you then project it onto other people, because you don't want to really feel that. But you did nothing wrong either. That's the thing. We're going to get to that. You did nothing wrong either. So what happens is, I should have not listened to my friend. I should listen to my gut. I should have parked on the other side of the street. So because I don't want to really say that I should have did that, I'm going to say it was my friend's fault, and it was the other person's fault for breaking into a car in broad daylight. Like, what is wrong with you? All these things. I mean, you can feed the blanks. Like, we've all been there before. So what you do is, in that moment, you take back your projections. It is not the other person's fault. For you take back your projections on other people and yourself. So it is not the other person's fault. The blame is not on anybody, the other person, my friend, or myself, because what is meant to happen will happen. What is not meant to happen will not happen. We are living out karma from multiple lifetimes. Like, it's happening all at once. Let me not get too far into that. But what is meant to happen will happen. It's not about trying to change how things will manifest in your life. It's about, when they do, how you respond. That is the forgiveness work. So once again, it's not about changing what is on the external. What is going to happen on the external is going to happen. We actually have no control over that. We do not. So what we do is, when the things happen on the external, on the screen in front of us, we work on our reaction. This is the forgiveness. That is how our heart becomes lighter over time. So you take back your projections. It's not the other person's fault. It's not your friend's fault. And it's not your fault either, because it was going to happen regardless. Okay. So, and why was it going to happen regardless? Because before we even come into this lifetime, there's a script that is written from the ego on what your life will be like. And so you can't really, you can change the script through the forgiveness to an extent. Some things that, because you learned, like, you practiced the forgiveness lesson earlier on, then you may not have to experience something later. Now, that is the script of the spirit. So we can get into that another time too. So, but just know that what is meant to happen will happen. What is not meant to happen won't happen. And we say that all the time. So what if we were living like life is a dream, life is just an illusion, then nobody did anything. You didn't do anything, your friend didn't do anything, the other person didn't do anything because it's not happening. So why even feel the need to attack or defend for what is not even happening, what does not exist, even though externally it really seems like it is, okay? So now, I think I explained that further. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Then, because I don't know if I'm not explaining, if it's not hitting the way it needs to hit, if you guys are not asking questions. So then you look within. So after you take back your projections, you say it's not the other person's fault. It's not my friend's fault. It's not my fault, because what is meant to happen will happen. Then you start to look within. So you start to get in tune with the emotions that you feel. You don't try to bury them. So many times what happens with the ego is that we will then shop it away, drink it away, smoke it away, sex it away, eat it away, whatever the case is, to bury it because we don't want to feel it. But then it just stays there. It doesn't actually do anything. And then it continues to project itself outwards. It'll bury and then project itself outward. And then you blame, and then you feel the feelings, you bury it, and then it projects itself, and then you blame, and then it just keeps, it's that same cycle. And that's what the ego wants you doing, running in a hamster wheel, going nowhere. Yes, you're moving in the same spot though. Like you're not actually moving and progressing and going somewhere this way. So it wants you doing this instead of like that. Okay. So you look within. That don't mean you identify with the emotions. That don't mean you start to say that because you're angry, you are justified to do all these horrible things. That doesn't mean you just look, you see, you feel those feelings, and then you turn it over to the Holy Spirit. So this is another kind of like an example, but I was talking to my friend the other day, and they're new to the course, but I love to hear, it's a guy, I love to hear him talk because he told me the other day, he was like, what did he say? It was yesterday. He was like, I don't want to look within. That's what he said. He was like, I don't want to, he said, he's like, I don't want to cry. And it's not even as men, as women, like for when I first started this work, I didn't want to cry either. But I will say the healing journey is wet with tears initially. There's a lot of stuff that we have buried and denied within ourselves that's just sitting there. So when we start to look at it, we're going to cry. Yeah, we're going to be angry. We're going to be upset. It's going to be a lot of gunk there. But as you dig it out, it starts to feel better. Because a lot of people like, oh, I was listening to this ad the other day, and the girl on the ad was like, and when you heal, so what you got to do is you got to heal. You got to heal. I know that she said, I hate crying during healing. Girl, but it is so refreshing. It is so healing. Like, it really is. So, but the girl on the ad, she was like, when you heal, just heal. But what does healing mean? This is what healing is. That is what it is. So the guy, he was like, I don't want to look within. And then the last part is turn it over to the Holy Spirit. He was like, I don't even want to ask. He calls it the higher self. So you could call it higher self, Holy Spirit, God. It really doesn't matter. So he was like, I don't want to ask my higher self. And that's the biggest thing that we can do, that is where the work is. It's with us actually asking, because spirit is not going to come in and impose. It will wait there patiently for you to give it up. As soon as you give it up, it's going to take it. And then then you'll feel lighter, and you'll be reminded of who you are. Sometimes when I give it over, I'll feel instant relief. Sometimes I'll feel like just a little bit. Sometimes I'll feel nothing, but I can continue on with my day. And that's where on the previous slide, it says that it provides an awareness of love and wholeness within you. And it's a feeling of being in the flow or deep inner peace. You may not always get words. You may not always get words. You may just get a feeling of it being lifted off of you, even if it's just a smidget. You may get the desire to go back to work and start again or whatever, or go back to doing whatever you were doing. You may get a little bit of energy to continue on. That doesn't mean that the feelings go away. So, okay, I was still on the second one. Look within. So how did I make my mouse big? Yep, look within. So what you do is, so in this example, okay, so someone broke into my car. I got back to my car. I'm like, I knew I shouldn't have. da, 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 da. And then I'm like, I can't believe they did this. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like, okay, whew, it's no one's fault. It was going to happen regardless. I can go and say all the things I could have and should have done, but I can't go back and change that. So I got to just accept what is happening right now. And then, okay, now that's the part of taking back the projections. What already happened. You can't change what happened. All you can do is do what you can do right now. It is nobody's fault. Not my friends, not myself, not the other person who broke into the car, because what will happen, what is meant to happen will happen, what is not meant to happen won't. Okay, now I am noticing the feelings within myself. This is usually the very hard, the last two, or all of it is kind of like the challenging part. So the second one is, you notice like, man, like I feel violated. What else do I feel? I feel stupid. I'm not in the moment right now, so I'm trying to conjure up, but all the things that you may feel when that happens. And so what we're doing is we're outing the ego. We're shining light on it, because the ego don't want us to see that we notice that it's making us feel stupid, that we notice that it is making us feel angry. It doesn't want us to see that, because once we see that, we have the opportunity and the ability to give it up. Because who wants to keep it? Who wants to keep thoughts of stupidity? Who wants to keep thoughts of anger? Who wants to keep thoughts of victimhood? Who wants to? No one does. So once we the feelings of guilt and fear and victimhood and anger and blame, if we don't tune into that, if we don't even notice that, we won't notice it, because we're saying it's another person, which we think will validate our innocence, when really it just affirms it. Because if we are then blaming it on somebody else, we are bringing it back onto ourselves, because guess what? We're all connected. So that's the thing. The forgiveness work is being able to see that your brother is the same as you, even if they are identifying with the ego and they don't see you as a brother. That doesn't mean that we're not that doesn't mean that we're not siblings. That doesn't mean that we're not connected. So look within, you see all that. And then after, it's like, man, I feel so stupid. Like, I'm so upset. I feel violated. Like, and then third step, turn it over to the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, higher self, God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. So what does that mean? Please help me see the situation differently. I can put it on here. Another one. Please help me see this situation the way you would like for me to see this situation. Whatever comes to mind, please help me release these feelings of guilt, fear, attack, violation, blame, da 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 da. Like, just, you can keep going. Like, so you just literally say, please help me to release this. Please help me see this situation the way you would have me see it. I don't like God. I don't want to feel these feelings anymore. I don't want to blame my brother. I don't want to blame myself. I don't want to blame my friend. I don't want to blame the person who broke into my car. I don't want to be mad at this person. I don't want to, all these things. You're affirming that you don't want it anymore. The ego does not want you to do that. And then really the last step is really the fourth step. God takes it up. Honestly, I would say, I swear, y'all, please try this. I don't want to be stacking my hands, but please try this. I swear it works. I swear it works. So, and then it just lifts up. It lifts up. Now, this is after you do that. Like, I remember one time I had got a ticket. Y'all, I was so tired of getting tickets, bro. Like, it was like shortly after I had moved back to Chicago, and I wasn't understanding the whole like the ticket situation. If y'all bet or in the big city, you understand, like, they be giving out tickets like Jesus Christ. I don't know, not like Jesus Christ, but still, you know, they just be giving out tickets. So I remember one time I came outside and I saw a ticket on my car, and I was like, I was so upset. I swear I wanted to fight the ticket lady. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta admit these things. I'm not gonna act like because I do yoga and, you know, I do yoga and I talk about this stuff that I don't have thoughts of wanting to harm people, because it's not you, the spirit, that is deciding, that is desiring these thoughts. The spirit would not desire these thoughts. It is you, the decision maker in your mind. Okay, I like that question. Why does the ego, I'm gonna get to that. So you, the decision maker in your mind, wants decided to choose through the ego and see things through the ego. So now that's not who you are. That is the thought system of the ego wanting to attack the ticket lady. And so instead of just like, you know what, I can do something differently. I don't know what to do differently just yet. I'm gonna take my projections back. It's not the ticket lady fault. It's not my fault. Just because it's not happening. This is an illusion. This is within the dream. And then I look within once again. Usually it's the same feelings. You feel stupid. You feel like, I don't know. I would have to be in the moment to know exactly what I feel. But usually it's like I'm feeling stupid or something. Like, why did I do that? I feel guilty. Da 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 da. Okay, God, please help me see. I was literally crying when I was saying it. Sometimes you got to get the crying, the tears out first. You got to just like the screaming, get it out, get it out. And then once you're done and you're just like sitting there like, I'm okay, I'm tired of like crying. I'm tired of blaming. I'm tired of being angry. Then you be like, okay, please help me see the situation differently. I don't want to be mad at the ticket lady. I really don't want to fight the ticket lady. Like, I just don't. It's not, I mean, she's just doing her job. Like, please help me see the situation the way you would have me see it. Please help me release these feelings of attack, of fear of that I won't be able to pay this ticket, of, you know, irritation that I got another ticket and even if I can pay the ticket, that's just $60 just throwing out the window. Like, I could spend that $60 on something else. So, okay. Yes, that's it. Every time I react in that way, I feel so stupid and guilty. And that is what the ego wants you to do. So why does the ego want to keep us in that space? Because it keeps it alive. It keeps it going. It keeps the illusion there. Like, it keeps us stuck in this realm of what will life be like separate from God. It wants to think that it can have a world separate from God, which it cannot. It does not exist, and it wants to keep us there in this world affirming itself. Do I actually know like what the ego actually is? Like, is it the devil? I know it is a mind state of separation. Do I think it is an actual entity and being? No. I explained that on the last one. Like, that when we thought of, where is that? I can go back. I know y'all didn't ask about this part, but it was on this one. I clicked the wrong one. This one. It was right. Oh, what is the ego? Is but a dream of what you really are, but a dream of what you really are, a symbol of impossibility, a choice for options that do not exist. So it's just the thought of what it will be like to be separate. But the ego is not harmful. It cannot harm you. It can only make you think that you can be harmed. It can only make you think that you are separate from God. It is just a dream. You're just dreaming, a nightmare. That's it. Like, that's it. And so Nagzi said, what is the purpose of that? Right. To keep it alive, to keep it thinking that it's alive, to keep it thinking that it can actually have a world separate from God that is worth living. I'm processing this out loud too, which is why I like that y'all ask me these questions, because it's helping me as you teach, you learn. So yeah, so the ego wants to keep us in this space because it affirms the thought that it can live a life outside of God that is worth living. And it's not worth living. Yep. And then what happens is what happens is when the body dies and the spirit hasn't grown into the awareness that it is not separate from God, it'll keep reincarnating. That is what reincarnation is. It'll keep living out these human existences. And that is what we've been doing. In my near life experience, the first part, so after the whole hanging situation, the first part was, I gotta go on a little bit though, y'all. The first part was I remembered all the lifetimes I had. I was Asian, I was white, I was Black, I was a man, I was a woman, I was Indian. We've experienced all these lifetimes and we don't remember, because that is the whole deception. And so we have already lived these lifetimes. We've had lifetimes of being rich, of being poor, of having children, of having no children, of being grandparents, of being married, of not being married, of having siblings, of not having siblings, of having two parents, of not having two parents. So that is the trick. We don't remember these things. So then we strive to attain things in the world, success, material possessions, even though we've done that before. And we just don't remember to have children, to have multiple children, to have a husband or to have a wife, to have all these things that we've already acquired before. We don't remember that we've acquired it before, because if we did, then we will be able to wake up and be like, this is some shit. I don't want this anymore. And therefore, the ego does not think that it exists. Where it's only existing or thinking that it's existing because of our belief in it. That's it. If we take our belief back, which is what forgiveness is, we take our belief back from the ego, from believing in this illusion. We take it back, because life is an illusion. Life is a dream. If we actually live our life like that, and that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we take our human and we stop believing in the human experience and start reminding ourselves that we are actually spiritual beings, then the ego cannot exist anymore, cannot think that it exists anymore. And that's what it's afraid of, own death. Because once we realize, like, wow, I'm actually in heaven, I actually am connected to God, I never separated from God, I never hurt God, I never made God mad, so God is not going to come back and beat me up or strike me down, or when I do something wrong, God is going to get me because I sinned. Sinning is not a thing either. That's just a guilty conscience. That's when we actually believe that and live like that, then the ego is like, it has no power. It has no ability to make us afraid that if we get a ticket that we're not going to be able to pay it, or that if we get a ticket that we're losing money, or that if somebody breaks into our car that something, you know, we did something in the past and now this is our karma being, you know, like it's just all these things and it just goes on and on and on. Because I had to dip into my savings, I was saving for my 300-hour yoga teacher training. For my deductible, my $500 deductible, I had to tap into my savings to get that deductible. And now I'm not taking the yoga teacher training in September like I hope so, but that's okay. It probably wasn't meant for me to take it in September anyways, but then we'll get mad. Now I can't take my yoga teacher training in September because this idiot, you know, like it just keeps going. And it's like, but it's fine. I'll take the yoga teacher training when it's meant for me to take the yoga teacher training. I'll get the money back. Do I need to bust my ass to get the money back now? No, I don't. And that's what we start to do. Because I said I was going to do it in September. I'm going to sacrifice my energy and get this money back. And I can, but it's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's once again, that's even like yoga instructors. Like, and I was just reading this and it was kind of like, whoo, you know, I got to work on that too. But even as yoga instructors, we'll strive for things in the world. It may not be actually like material possessions, but it'll be goals. So it'll be to be able to get a yoga teacher training, to be able to lead a yoga teacher training, to be able to become a manager. It becomes these like goals, but that is still enforcing the I. Not saying that you don't have goals, but you are so attached to them that if they need to shift and change a little bit, that you can't change with it. It's okay. I started to feel, and then it goes on, I started to feel that the teacher who wanted me to take the teacher training, and Noxie, did that make a little sense? I don't know, like, did it make a little sense, like what I said? But so now I'm like nervous, like, dang, the teacher is going to be upset at me because I said that I was going to do it in September. What are people going to think about me? Are they going to think that I'm not a woman of my word? All these things just keep, it goes. I mean, you can follow it too. Like it goes on and on and on. So Des said, I've noticed that when I operate in a positive mindset, things always work in my favor, even if originally it doesn't seem that way. Yeah. And so that's a big one too, because we don't know once we decide. I love this, y'all. I'm so glad that y'all on here making these comments. When we decide that we want to, I'm gonna even go back to the other screen. When we decide that we want to go back up this ladder. So we're right here. Identification with the false self that believes it is in a body, in a world that was actually projected from the part of your mind that chose to believe in sin, fear, and guilt. So yeah, I'm so glad that made sense. I'm gonna read the rest of your comment in a minute. I just read the first line. So once we know that we're here, we're trying to ascend back up this way. We got to go back up this way. All right. So we're here in life in this part, and we're having to go back up. This is the crying part. This is the crying part. This is the sad part, because all this was harmful getting down here. This way from heaven, the tiny mad idea, the first decision, the first division, when now God is just the memory. The second, when we have the voice of God or the ego, we chose the ego again. And now the Holy Spirit is just the memory. Now the ego has your attention. Now it's throwing insults at you. Now we have the third division, that the awareness that the mind projected a world of sin, fear, and guilt. That means that we don't know that we're the dreamer of the dream. We don't know that we projected it. So now we are, that hurts coming down this way. That's a lot of pain. So it's this saying that in order to get to the light, we got to go through the clouds. There's no way around it. Anybody told you the healing journey is easy, lied to you. It's simple. It's simple, like we can understand it. And you may meet a lot of people along this journey that can intellectually like repeat things back to you. That's why they said even the devil can repeat the Bible, like because we can intellectually understand it. It is in the application that the progress is made, that the growth happens, not in just understanding that, oh yeah, I see how I got here. Like, no, when the stuff hits the fan, when somebody breaks into your car, when you get a ticket, when well, I was gonna teach this yoga class at a university, at the University of Chicago. Not even that one. It's another Chicago State University. When I was gonna teach a yoga class there, I make a decent amount of money. I was like, oh, okay, I'll be able to just get the money back because I'm about to teach these 2 classes. That's gonna be simple. And then she was like, hey, Ari, Chicago State isn't letting me spend any money, so we can't do the class on the 19th. I'm like, I didn't, but I could tell that in the past I would have been like, oh my God, like just when I needed that, you would have just lost your shit. Like, but it was just like, all right, well, okay. Like, I mean, it's nothing to even get defensive about. It's nothing to get upset about. When you're actually doing the forgiveness work, you become lighter, and the energy it takes to be mad, to be guilty, to be fearful is just too much. It's just like, nah, I don't even feel like dealing with that. Like, I don't even, okay. And then it was so funny. She was like, hey, can we book it for the 26th? What's funny is I didn't even have my car on the 19th. So because it was getting fixed. So I would have to take the bus. I would have to do all this extra stuff. My mom was going to let me see her car, but still I would have to do extra stuff. Now on the 26th, this Wednesday, I got my car back. So it's just like, like we don't have in response to Dessa's thing, she said, even if okay, what I was saying, I got on a little tangent. Okay, I'm gonna go after this for sure, y'all. Okay, because I got my last PT appointment. So, we don't see the bigger picture. This is what I was saying. We can't see the bigger picture of how and everybody's situation is differently. My life, my journey of ascension is different from Noxie's, from Dessa's, is different from my friends, from the dude who broke into my car. Our evolution, or our reminding of our awareness that we are not separate from God, is different. We're all going to get to the same place, but the journey will it's specific, it's unique to each individual. So we can't judge the bigger picture, even like what Dessa said, even though on the external, like when I got the word that Chicago State isn't letting her spend any money, so we can't do the class on the 19th. That actually, now let's say I would have been irritated, and then she comes and being like, okay, Ari, we can do it on the 26th. Now I just spent all that time stressing and being mad and being angry over the fact that I couldn't do it on the 19th. Knowing I didn't even have a car, and I would have to do all this extra stuff, like it ended up working out. It worked out better for us to even do it on the 26th. Who knows? Had I would have got irritated, it probably wouldn't even have happened on the 26th. But because I practiced the forgiveness, I took back my projection. It's not Chicago State's fault. It's so many opportunities you get to practice forgiveness now. It's ridiculous. It's not Chicago State fault. It's not, the girl fault. It's not my fault. It's not the fact that somebody broke into my car. It's not nobody's fault. What's meant to happen will happen. What is not meant to happen won't. Look within. I didn't feel it on this one, because I was just like, after so long, it starts to happen automatically. Once you start to heal, you don't have to do the whole take back the projection, look within. Some things you will, but some things will you're automatically gonna know that you're connected and you're fine. But some things you won't. So let's say I did feel some type of way. I would have looked within, like, Ari, you're gonna be able to do yoga teacher training, whatever, or not. I would have looked within and been like, I would have noticed that I have this irritation, I have all these things, I have this fear, all these things. And then I would have been like, God, please help me see this situation differently. Please help me see Chicago State not having the money that it wants to spend on me at this time differently. Please help me release these feelings of fear that I won't be able to pay or do my yoga teacher training by a certain date, all these things. And then literally, once you invite spirit, higher self, Jesus, God, to relieve you of the things, the suffering that you are causing onto yourself because you are choosing to think through the ego and see things through the ego, it lifts it. It lifts it. All it needs is your permission. That's it. And then that's where forgiveness is. Okay. And then Nazi says, so much sense. I'm still listening, and I swear I feel so relieved, if you will. Wow, listen, yes, you do. I work at Amazon, so I got my phone hiding in my shirt. Wow, I'm listening. Yes, girl. Okay. So you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And you'll be taken care of. You'll be taken care of. I mean, we had our phones to do so much other stuff, to do things we really ain't supposed to be doing. So let me go so I can get to this appointment on time and not be rushing. That's how I got the last $100 ticket. Rushing and parked in a spot that had a little paper wrapped around this tiny ass tree. So I'm working on my thing with that. I got the little ticket over there now. I'm just like, if I gotta pay it. So that's my forgiveness too. It's not my fault. I have to start being able to leave early, making sure I'm doing my due diligence, things like that. But even if I gotta pay the ticket, the $100, if I go and I could test it, and because I paid the parking and I'm gonna say my spiel. If they end up having me having to still pay it, then I gotta pay it. Like I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I got $100 to give, just not to Chicago. Like, so hey, after so long, you start to laugh at it. You start to laugh at the ways the ego is trying to trip you up. Like, you trying so hard to knock me off my square, and it's not happening. Like, it's not happening. That's when that goes back to the benefits of makes you invulnerable to attack. It prevents defensiveness. Like, and then you get to keep the peace. You don't give your peace away because a ticket, like, but it's like drinking herbs. You gotta be prepared beforehand. All right. All right. So thank you, Aura. Thank you guys for even coming and saying and asking these questions and putting these statements that help me, So we're on this journey together. We do not have to go alone. We're all here in the same boat, going in the same direction. Like y'all are helping me just as much. It's a two-way, it's give and take. Like as I teach, I learn. So okay, y'all. I'ma go. So see y'all next week. Let me know any other questions that you may have, like any things you want me to go live on. I think I'm gonna ask like what the next thing that I think I know, but I don't know at this moment because my mind is on this. So just enjoy this one. If you're on the replay, put your questions in the chat, and then we'll talk next week, Monday at 10 a.m. All right, bye y'all.